Okay. This is one of my earlier healings. We had just moved here into Santa Fe, and that puts it like 24 years ago. And I got this call, I guess it was call back then from Hawaii, and it was about a young girl. She was still a teenager, and she had been a surfer and very active, and she had with her sister, they were stripping this piece of furniture. And they were even outside because that stuff is pretty potently toxic. And somehow she got that chemical that takes all the junk off the furniture. She got it in her eyes, both eyes. And she went legally blind. She could still make out some light and some color and some form and movement, but she was legally blind. She had mostly detached retinas, one worse than the other. And some of the cones had been destroyed. So we started working on her, and I worked on her. She was in the bowl constantly. I probably had more than one bowl going for her. And at that time, I didn't have too many bowls yet. So I had allocated most of my collection to her because it was such a severe problem. And she had already had it for a while. She didn't come to me immediately when this happened. She had been to the doctors a number of times, and they had put her on prednisone of strong dose, which is really bad, really awful stuff. And it wasn't doing anything. But after a week or two, working constantly in the bowl, checking it all the time, testing to see what her body needs, what her eyes need, what the retinas needed, all that stuff over and over on a very regular basis and changing the bowl, she started to be able to see again. And after a couple of months, she was not legally blind anymore in either eye. But this young lady was so tenacious that even when she was legally blind, she was still surfing. I don't know how she did it. She must have been feel on the light and the feel, but she loved surfing so much she refused to stop, and she's determined to see again. And the bowl did it for her. So this was a really severe problem. Usually, what most doctors will tell you that if your retina starts getting detached or you're losing the cones, that kind of stuff cannot be repaired, never comes back. But here they saw it because she kept going to the doctors and getting all these fancy tests. And she had some of the most expensive, elaborate tests that were available at the time. And they could see it, and that she could prove it by telling people what she saw and taking vision tests. And I have machines that test the eyes very accurately. That her eyesight actually was better at the very end of the healing time, which was we went on for months. She just wanted to stay in the bowl. She didn't want to get out. She didn't want to take any chances or anything. I had her in there for quite a while, working on her all the time. And her eyesight was better. One of the eyes was 20/20, and the other one had improved quite a bit from the time before the accident. That kind of vision that she had before the accident. She had pretty good sight, but there was a little bit of problems here. But they started to correct themselves with the bowl. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I remember. Beautiful story. I always loved that. And I remember that the first time that the reversal started to happen, the doctor was totally amazed. They couldn't believe it.